Howdy, folks. It's been a while since I've done any posting or anything like that. I ended up losing my house in Utah, Ogden, Utah, and so I had to do kind of an emergency move where it feels like I've lost about 90% of everything I own. I got a bunch of stuff in kind of outdoors storage still in Utah. There's been all kinds of drama, but well, I'll tell you, got kind of a long story. I don't know if my camera's going to let me do this, uh, whole thing, but so I ended up losing my house in Ogden, Utah, because of medical debt and everything like that, and was basically forced to sell my house. And I was desperately trying to keep everything uh, to, that I thought was important to me. The last 5 years have been not so great for me, but anyway, I ended up not being able to work for the Utah Transit Authority. That's a whole different story. But when it came down to selling my house, I basically almost ended up not having anywhere to go. And I ended up in, I don't want to say exactly where I live, but I live in close to a town called Metropolis, Illinois now, in a tiny house. And oh my gosh, the story that uh, of getting my stuff from Utah to uh, Metropolis is just crazy. So I had some people that were supposed to be helping me to move my Oldsmobile. Some of you guys have seen pictures of my '67 Oldsmobile, and I had my Oldsmobile completely loaded up with from the trunk completely full all the way to the front dash. The only place you could find room to was right in the driver's seat itself, and then no other room. I had my Oldsmobile on a trailer, and it's a four-wheel trailer, and I was using my 03 Ford Excursion to loaded completely to the gills with all of my other stuff. And so we started out doing the trip, and there was all kinds of drama because the people that were theoretically helping me, well, sometimes we make bad choices or not or unwise choices with people we choose to associate with. So anyway, there was all kinds of drama that ended stretching out into almost a whole wasted day. And my vehicles were all loaded up and everything was ready to go and everything like that. And I had another person who was supposed to be behind me towing my Oldsmobile. And because it was loaded up on a trailer, this, that, and the other, and everything. So anyway, we get into the getting ready to go. There's all kinds of drama. There's almost had a fist fight. One guy was being flaky, was a little bit not normal, I'll put it that way, and a little bit schizophrenic. And so I knew exactly which way I was going to go. And it was going through southern Utah and then over to Shiprock, New Mexico. And I have driven this route a bazillion times. I've grown up kind of, mostly, not grown up, but my family is mostly out of Vernal, Utah, Fort Duchesne, and Shiprock, and a lot of my family is Navajo and everything. And I did a lot of Boy Scouting at, out in that area. Also, camping and stuff like that, the Boy Scouts and the LDS Church. And so, uh, me, because from my perspective, these people are doing me a favor by helping me get all of this stuff transported to Metropolis, Illinois. So, uh, this guy that was supposed to be helping me had a turbo diesel truck. And my excursion, I just got the V10, which is actually an awesome car, so I shouldn't say just. But it's got a V10 in it, and it tows like crazy. It's just a really good vehicle, and it gets about between 16 and 18 miles to the gallon, fully loaded, with my Oldsmobile, with the well, let's see, the first trip was I had my Mazda loaded on a U-Haul, and had that completely loaded to the gills. And then my excursion was completely loaded to the gills, and my guy that was supposed to be behind me, with my other trailer, everything was loaded up and ready to go. So we hit the road, and I had told him, my chase guy, exactly the route that I was going to go to get to Metropolis, Paducah, Kentucky, that kind of thing. So anyway, all of a sudden, this guy, and I'm following him because his truck's way faster than my GMC, except for top speed, which is limited to like 94 miles an hour or something like that. And this guy, all of a sudden, starts going through all of these little towns and hamlets and everything. This one of my uncles grew alfalfa out in Ouray, Utah, and I have a lot of cousins that I don't know in Vernal, Utah, and a lot of my family is this whole area. I know for in the back of my head, is maybe it's genetic or something or whatever, but that's my area where my family's from. So I know Shiprock and I-40, and it was supposed to be a straightforward run. And then this guy that was theoretically helping me, because my Oldsmobile was on the trailer, and he was towing my Oldsmobile, he started going all over the place. Random places, past the airport, down, I can't remember that because I've been so stressed for the last couple of months. This guy went through all of these areas that we didn't need to go through, and it was really weird. And I kept trying to chase him and keep up with him, but he kept trying to dodge me. And then we were going through all these little townships that are in the Fort Duchesne and Shiprock area and everything. And he's doing all of this weird stuff, and I'm trying to chase him and keep up with him. And finally, I caught him in downtown Shiprock, New Mexico. And this guy, we're going to go up over the hill and then hit I-40 and go straight out. Well, he started doing all kinds of crazy stuff. This guy that was hauling my Oldsmobile, and it felt like he was trying to steal my car, my Olds. And it was just crazy. So we had the excursion. I had my Mazda on a U-Haul, and this guy that was following me had my Oldsmobile, which loaded to the gills. My Mazda's loaded to the gills, and he starts taking off and going all over crazy places, like stuff where I had done Boy Scouting in and everything. That whole area up that I guess you would call it the Uinta Basin or something like that. I know that like genetically in my head. Um, so I had this all figured out, and this guy was going all over the place, all just crazy. It was completely nuts. And when finally we had some drama where I just went into screw it mode and went down to farther south and got back on I-40 and then went all the way out to New Mexico. And then in New Mexico, we were supposed to meet up again. But this guy started doing other crazy stuff. And finally, I went in, I just like, screw it. I'm not going to deal with this guy anymore. I need to get to Metropolis. Because that was my goal. I was so hyper stressed. There was periods where like it seemed like an hour long at my excursion tops out at 93 miles an hour. So I'm going 93 miles an hour trying to get to Metropolis, Illinois. And this guy still has my Oldsmobile that he's towing, which is loaded up with my other stuff. And we ended up getting completely separated. And I actually made it to New Mexico 2 hours ahead of the person that was towing my Oldsmobile. Because I knew exactly where I was going. I knew what I was doing. I knew the plan. I told him the plan and everything like that. And he kept asking, the guy that was towing the Olds was trying to extort money out of me, say, oh, I need more money for gas and this, that, and diesel, because he's a diesel, his truck's a diesel, and this, that, and the other. So he's basically trying to soak me from my money because I'm trying to get to Metropolis because I know exactly where I need to go, Metropolis, and Paducah area, and the goal is to get to my job. But because of all the stress of trying to recover my vehicles, everything like that, and eventually we got to New Mexico, and my daughter, I didn't realize where my daughter was living, and she was in New Mexico, so we drove right past her. But there was no reason for me to have ever gotten stuck in New Mexico. And the whole a 2-day trip turned into it was like 4 or 5 days of me trying to track down this guy that has my Oldsmobile, everything like that. And I finally got to Paducah, Kentucky, and these guys that were supposed to be helping me with the Oldsmobile got lost up in St. Louis. And I don't know what in the heck they were doing or anything like that. The whole trip was completely blown out by these guys. So we finally ended up getting the Kentucky sheriffs involved with the sheriffs up in St. Louis so that we could get my Oldsmobile back, because these guys were going crazy driving around all of these upper areas. And I know all of these areas because I've driven from Utah to Paducah, Kentucky a whole bunch of times. And so I just, okay, in my head internally because of the stress and everything like that. And plus, I had my cat Milo with me. He's a good cat, by the way. So it ended up, I got to Paducah, Kentucky, and and my whole time schedule is blown out. I haven't slept for like 3 or 4 days because I'm trying to chase this guy down, trying to get this guy to come back around, and he's driving like an insane idiot trying to follow him. It was like he would drive over into the medians and stuff like it was like he was trying to ditch me. What it was, and I just finally was like, you know what? The goal is to get to Metropolis so that I can start a new job with Paducah Area Transit, and that's what that was the goal. I wanted to end up going to work for Paducah Area Transit, but that all fell apart, and my brain had gone into I don't know how to explain it. Somebody explained it to me because I didn't know exactly what was going on. But I was under so much stress, continuous stress for 4 days, my ears started ringing because of the stress. And I thought that something was wrong. So I was just like desperately trying to get to Paducah so that I could get to Metropolis, so that I could get into my I'm talking to you from my tiny home right now, and I don't want to give away where I'm at because I don't need that dingbat guy showing up again. But what ended up happening is the St. Louis police ended up separating, and this is the best way I can, it was described to me by other people who were involved in. I don't remember who all those people were, but my Oldsmobile was still on my trailer, loaded up with all of my stuff, but it ended up in a junkyard out in St. Louis. And so I had gone to Metropolis to start my new life because everything fell apart from living in Utah. And holy cow. So all of this stuff is going on, and I'm trying to, and the whole stretch of, I don't know how many miles because I had so much backtracking to do, and we went up in all these high mountain areas in Fort Duchesne and Vernal, and all these places that we didn't have to go to. And I knew exactly where I was because I grew up in that area. Not grew up, but summer times were spent there. My people are from that area, Shiprock and New Mexico and Vernal and Fort Duchesne and the Ute Reservation and all that stuff. But anyway, so I just broke, and we got the St. Louis sheriffs involved, and the St. Louis sheriffs caught the guys that were trying to steal my Oldsmobile and the trailer that my Oldsmobile was on. They tried, in my opinion, trying to steal this car from me. And this guy was driving all over Creation, went up into Denver, because I knew from the feedback that I was getting from other people that were involved that he was way up in Denver, and I'm way down near Metropolis and Paducah, and I know all of that area because I used to drive for Paducah Area Transit a long time ago. I just it's all in my head. So anyway, finally, that my Oldsmobile ended up in a junkyard in St. Louis, and I had to take took my excursion and drove out to this junkyard, and the people that were towing my Olds had stolen my trailer hitch. It's an expensive trailer hitch, lots of money with the multi-ball and everything like that. But the thing is, for whatever reason, I was saved because I already had a multi-ball hitch in the back of my Excursion, and I ended up using the multi-ball that I had hidden in my Excursion, hooked that all up, got everything taken care of, and ended up back where I needed to be to end my trip so that I could get back to work for Paducah Area Transit. Well, because of the extended stress and how hyped up my body was, I mean, beyond adrenaline. Like I had used up all my adrenaline, and my brain was fried. I was in functional mode where I knew exactly where I needed to go because I had already been to all these places because I knew exactly where I was. Wasn't going to get lost. So I ended up using my spare multi-ball. Thank goodness. I guess that's a karma thing because there's no reason for that multi-ball to have been in my Excursion. So I got my Oldsmobile hooked up. I had already dropped off my Mazda earlier at U-Haul, and it was just a crazy flipping mess. And there's so many layers to everything, and over like 2 or 3 days, it should have only taken like 3 days at the maximum to get everything from Utah to Metropolis, and then I was supposed to go work for Paducah Area Transit, but because I was so hyper stressed and reactive and everything like that, I had no downtime. And what ended up happening is I had a highly reactionary event to all of this stress, and unfortunately I'm not working for Paducah Area Transit, but I would love to work for Paducah Area Transit, but I think that the whole thing is ruined because of this whole episode of me getting to Metropolis, Illinois, and restarting my life. So now I'm living in this little tiny house. I have no complaints. I have no reasonable complaints. And it's just been, holy cow. Now everybody's trying to get me into the social programs like Social Security, local rural health, and there's a lot of people helping me out trying to get back on my feet and get a job and everything like that. But it's only been in the last couple of days that the ringing in my ears from all of the stress and my adrenaline reaction to well, how can I say, the meaning of stress is resisting the urge to choke the crap out of somebody who desperately needs it. Well, I was in that mode for 3 or 4 days, continuously. I only had one time when I stopped at a hotel because the areas out here, there's no mountains, so in this area, so you can't really tell where you're at. If you're a mountain person, the flatlands are a nightmare because you lose your compass. I need a hula girl for my dashboard because I can't tell because I grew up in the mountains, and so I know those as guidons. So anyway, that's my whole journey. There's still drama going on. I still have my Pinto is still in Utah. My Crown Vic is still in Utah, trying to get insurance together and money together and everything like that, so that nobody really wants me to go back to work. So now I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm going to do with restarting my bagpiping and everything like that, and it's just been slow. So anyway, anybody who's made it this far in here, thanks for watching, and that's what I've been doing. I don't really want to reveal exactly where I am because I don't need any weirdos showing up and causing problems in my new area. And the area I'm in, sorry, is awesome. The people are awesome. It's a metropolis over by the paddle wheeler boat. Um, and I'm getting a lot of support that sometimes I don't feel like I deserve it, but I'm extremely grateful, and I really don't have anything to complain about. Um, there it is. Oh, my skin's getting better, mostly because it's more humid out here. So anyway, thanks for watching, and sorry for it being taking so long, but that's the way it goes. Have a good one, and I'll probably post some music videos or something like that later on today because I'm bored. So there it is. Have a good one.